It's Michelle from Chong the dog, obviously, if you're listening. I've been very busy. When I felt that I would be able to actually work in my social media, but my dog thought otherwise. But I was over on Facebook, like I always am every day, and anyways, I seen a post about an elephant, and this elephant, I guess, was caged for years, for like, I don't know, like probably like 10, 15 years. And it was very unhappy, and it was forced to perform. And the elephant finally escaped. And when this elephant escaped, they shot the elephant 86 times. It was so sad that I cried. And I shared it to my Chong group. And there was a pit bull where the rescuers need $600 because he was in a fighting ring for people that just don't care about animals. And hopefully they get their money to rescue him. My thing is, why should we hurt others to get money? I get we all need it. But to force animals to breed, to take all their puppies and just sell them to wherever and dump them on the street, there has to be better ways of making money. That's all I mean, with a heavy heart, a lot of animals have went down because us as people, I guess, we can't see beyond our own need for money and greed that will take others down and force others to bend our will. I mean, it's just sad. And when I see these things, I start crying. I'm an empath. Empathic people, this is what they do. And I guess it never gets old because it was sad. And it's sad that all these animals and people are forced to do things every day for the love of money, which I guess brings me to what my mom used to always tell me, that money is the root of all evil. I mean, for the sake of money, people will do all kinds of stuff. So, let me see. I finally got somebody. Oh, hello. How are you? Like to? Oh, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not really good with abbreviations and new things, but I was talking about the elephant who was on Facebook. And this elephant literally was forced to perform for like 10, 15 years, and they never even let this poor elephant out at all. And after like 15 years later, the elephant finally in captivity escaped, and then they shot him 86 times. It was from a circus. And there's a whole petition now on Facebook over circuses. And you know what? I seen a circus when I was younger, and I didn't think that elephants were treated that way in the circus. And I'm really hoping that all circus animals are not treated this way. Oh, hello. And I guess there was 6 pit bulls also that they were taken from a fighting ring, and they need money for treatment just because people needed fast cash. And I literally I cried. I mean, it's bad enough how they treat the cows, and now the elephant was shot 86 times just because it wanted to see outside. I don't. Sometimes I don't think people in this world care anything about human life or any life. Okay, I'm not sure what that one was. This one is held for review, so I don't know what YouTube's doing with that, but yeah, it's I I literally posted they had the video. Somebody actually took a video of them shooting this elephant 86 times just because they were mistreating this elephant. It's animals really don't have rights, and sometimes people don't have rights. Anybody that wants money in this world is taking animals and human beings and doing what they will with them. And I think it's horrible. And I guess that's why I really started my Facebook cause for peace. And thank God 6,000 people followed me because it's terrible. In the animal shelters, I was sharing some of the people that I help out with the animal shelters on Facebook, and they keep picking up these dogs and cats, and there's no owners. People are just dumping them, and it's terrible. I send posts just in case there is a good owner out there that wants their pet back, but sometimes I don't think people really care about animals when you see some of the horrible things people do to these animals. It literally makes you, I guess, retake your think of how much you like people when you see these things. And I'm hoping you guys are good people and like human life and things like that, because life in general. I mean, I respect life, and I just I find it appalling that people would find this okay to do. I think people like that should be caged up and have the same treatment done to them. Anybody that could hurt a human being like that or an animal, I don't know. It's just one of those moments today. I try to have hope in the world and stuff, but sometimes it's hard. Oh, hello. How are you doing? I've been trying to get over here yesterday, but between the husband's day off and Chong having a pee-a-thon all day, and then I decided just to clean, it just didn't happen. Today seems to be a little more easier, so I can actually get over here and have a little peace to live stream. But I haven't seen a post like that where they had footage of a circus animal being shot 86 times. That hasn't happened for a while on Facebook. And they have this petition going around, so I don't know the answers. I know circuses are wonderful, but maybe there's a better way of going about things where they could still perform and they get treated better. Or maybe there could be some kind of organization that's not. I got some of these organizations just don't care and they say they do one thing and not the other. Maybe an organization that for the humanity of animals that could go and make sure all these guys are getting the right treatment they need. I don't know, but it was the saddest stuff I ever seen. And I mean, over here, I always cry over dogs, our family. Some of these dogs that they pick up, I don't understand what was going through their mind. I don't, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's just terrible to know that you inflicted that kind of horror. There was one thing on this Dogs for Family. This guy was a drunk and had this gorgeous German Shepherd. And I guess he beat his dog every day and didn't let him leave. He just had him on this chain and he didn't even get to go far. It was sad, and I guess when the animal rescuers had to pay the drunk man because he wanted to continue to beat him every day, and he had his leg had a huge tumor on it, so they brought him to the rescue center and they amputated his leg and everything, and they thought it was going to go further but didn't. And this dog, even though he had three legs, a cut like a week later was walking on three legs and he was just happy to get away from him. And I've heard so many stories just from people. My one friend, they ended up going to Florida because, that's what young people do. They go traveling and stuff where they get their life together, where they're going to settle down. And I guess it was like a family friend. And I guess he would get mad at his dog when he got drunk and he would take like the bottle cans and stuff and beat his dog. And I asked them, I was like, did you call the police? And they said they couldn't because they had nowhere to go and they had to watch him beat up his puppy every day. And this puppy was bleeding sometimes. And I wasn't mad at them when they came back from Florida, but they did report it. But the thing is, are you that angry that somebody made you mad that you're going to beat up on a dog? I mean, this happens so much. And then somebody else told me that their dad had a mental condition and he had a kitten and he would torture the kitten every day until finally the cat died. And there's nothing she could have done because he would have beat her too. And just hearing things like that just makes me so sad and doesn't give me faith in the world that much. But seeing organizations and seeing these videos where they're actually saving dogs and from inhumane things gives me a little faith, but I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't really worry that I don't have a lot of money, and I really don't care if I do or don't. I honestly just wish that I lived in a world where people weren't as cruel as they are, because it's sad to know you live in a world where the people will abduct your children They'll torture animals. And for what? I mean, is this who we are? People tell me I have hippie views. And my parents were hippies, I'm not gonna lie. They were. But they were good people. They weren't materialistic. They were nice. They would have never tortured an animal. So who's better than who in this world? You might have millions of dollars, but if you're doing horrible things to get those millions, is it really worth it? I'm beginning to think this is blood money. And when governments take blood money in large amounts, it has to fall on somebody. I don't know who, but I wish things would stop. And I guess this is why I live stream and I do so much social media. Maybe just to bring awareness of all the bad so people can be aware and maybe just, I don't know, try to be better people. We have to. I'm scared when I leave out this world how things are going to be. I just feel bad for. I feel bad for my own kids. They have to have kids in this world. And I feel horrible for the kids in this world. Because eventually one day I won't be here and I'll be done. But somebody else is going to be here and they're either going to get tortured or something or just not treated right. And I'm not saying go and hug everybody and do all that. I'm saying just respect people enough to not want to hurt them. There's better ways. When I was potty training Chong, I had a lot of people telling me to whoop his ass. And I had a lot of people telling me about the shock collars and this and that. I did get a prong collar because of his breed and it doesn't really hurt him, but I'm against things that are going to hurt them. I caged my dog's toys. I put his favorite toys in jail when he was younger, just I guess as a form of punishment, but he wasn't in that cage. And prior to this, I've always had cats. And I've used a water sprayer, water bottle, and I would just spray my cat. So I started spraying him with a water bottle at a young age. And it works. I don't have to spank him. I don't have to hurt him. And he's very friendly. And the thing is I don't understand if people had a little compassion in their soul, they would. There's always other ways. And my husband was like, "Oh, how are we going to train him?" And I was like, "If we train with violence, he responds with violence." That was my answer. So we have trained with nonviolence. And it's worked. He's actually a sweet, nice dog. He's like a big Clifford. And I don't honestly, before I found him, I mean, he was sick. Really, nobody wanted him because he was sick. I nursed him. I was his nurse. He was throwing up worms when I got him. But I didn't give up. I I literally got him medicines. I had him checked out by a vet and it almost went in his lungs. So even though he was free, I ended up paying for vet bills and then I paid $1,000 for him to be my service dog. And my thing is Why would somebody want to be so cruel to a gift of nature? And then everybody tells me, oh, don't you want to breed them? And I was like, there's so many animals in the animal shelter. And if you have a true compassionate heart, these animals will be fine. I've had a lot of shelter animals and I've never had a problem with them. They're the most loyal and nicest animals you'll ever have. Because they felt the struggle. They felt the dark side of humanity. So I don't know. It's very, I guess so, with a heavy heart, I say R.I.P. to that poor elephant. And maybe we all should like pray tonight for all the dogs that are out there that people won't let them die. They just beat them until they get so sick they end up dying anyways. But instead of just shooting them in the head and mercy killing them, these people relentlessly abuse them every day. And for no reason, and they chose to get that dog. And I just feel bad. These animals probably wish they were dead, just like people in bad conditions. And it makes me, I don't know, sometimes it makes me sometimes give up on humanity, but I think to myself there has to be people out there like me that have a passion for just having things nice in the world, because it takes a lot of effort to have a baby, give birth, and raise a child. And to see that child one day doing horrible things and then one day getting shot, that could cripple a person, especially the mother. Father, too, at a lot of times. Because I think one of the hardest things to do is to bring life into the world. And I think it's the same way for animals, I would say. Their whole life, they just want to bring life in the world for new hope. And every day, we take away their hope. I mean, this industrial farming. These farm animals, they don't live very long because they're food, obviously, but the farmers treat them fairly. The corporate people, they don't care. They're heartless. They put them in these cages and they're forced to give birth in a cage. They live their life in a cage and they're put out for slaughter. And they're not, they're born hopeless and they die hopeless. That's the bottom line. And I don't think it's right for any living being on this earth to die hopeless and live hopeless and to be born hopeless. Because I believe there's hope for everyone, but to take away somebody's hope from day one, I I mean, you got to answer to somebody for that. And just one day, even having kids of your own, knowing you've done that to another human being, I don't know. I mean, I would think it would be the most horrible thing for me personally to live through. But that's just me, honestly. But let me know what you guys think about this. I mean, I I don't know anymore. I don't talk to a whole lot of people. I deal in the business of healing people, not killing people. And I don't understand it takes so long to heal somebody. And it does. You go through this process and you tell them they're worth something, this and that, and then humanity crushes down on them. It's like, why are we even bothering healing people? Why are we even bothering having kids? I mean, if the end cost of having a child is, or giving life is to have somebody use it up for slaughter, or just use it and have something, and give something no hope at all and let them die without hope. I mean, what kind of people are we? I mean, a lot of times I trust dogs more than humans for this reason. And I do post all the time that dogs are better than humans. And they are. We are horrible. I'm a human saying this. I trust my dog's judgment more than a human's judgment because they know good from bad. And they have to suffer knowing good from bad because the bad want to hide. That's what happens when Chong occasionally doesn't like somebody. It's usually for good reason, and then that person always wants me to discipline Chong, and I tell him I trust his judgment, and people get pissed at me, but then they end up that this person was a horrible person, and these are what these dogs end up with, is these horrible people, and they won't bond with them. And they get relentlessly tortured. And I just find it horrible. I find it horrible in how people do this and how this practice is, I guess, glorified. I mean, it's just not worth being mad at somebody and all that to cause a line of destruction. Because this is what happens. A line of destruction gets put and it starts a chain reaction, and people suffer when people get angry, animals suffer. And the chain reaction never ends. Eventually, I think ends. I don't know, but it always ends with innocent blood. If it's a dog or cat or a child or a woman or a pregnant woman, it always ends up with an innocent blood dying. And for what? Just for someone not to admit their mistakes, or for someone not to admit they're wrong? I mean, it's terrible. I mean, being in the fight of humanity, I guess, there's the good days and bad days, but today's not a good day. I mean, to shoot an elephant 86 times, and the pit bulls that were brought in from these fighting rings, it's terrible. And then I think it was like 2 months ago, there was a post where this guy he had a huge fighting ring, and one of the dogs he didn't like or something, or wasn't doing him good. He tied him up to a rock by a river or something, and then this good Samaritan seen the tide coming in and he rescued him. This German Shepherd, and they noticed that he must have got tied up from somewhere, and then they found 200 dogs that were being abused. And the police came in and they literally arrested a bunch of people, and it was bad, but I just don't understand what goes through people's heads, why they think this is okay. If I had to do that for money, I would rather just go kill myself. Because at that point, if it's that damn important to you, then, and you're going to cause that much destruction, you might as well die. Because how many dogs this person destroyed before this man saved this one dog to save 200. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, that message is restricted. I don't know why they have these messages restricted. I don't know. But that's where I'm at today. I just say if you're really angry at somebody and you feel like getting a gun out or whatever you're going to do, don't. Because the end result is, did it really involve you? And is it really going to hurt your life just because that person doesn't like you? There's a whole long list of people that don't like me. And I'm okay with it. Because not everyone's supposed to like everyone. I tell that to my coworkers all the time. Oh, good morning. But yeah, it's true. Not everybody's gonna like you. It's and it's okay. I mean, sometimes the residents just don't like me for whatever reason, and it's nothing personal. You just move about your life. I think if more people just moved about their life and just accepted that not everyone's gonna like you, there'd be less shootings. But they don't. Everybody, you got to be super polite, and everybody expects everyone to like everyone, and they force all this. And not everyone's going to like you. I was raised this way. I was raised, it is what it is, but you don't bring your problems and have other people get hurt because of it. So if someone personally is like me, I say, okay. If they're taking care of their family and their pets and stuff and they're doing okay in the world, I move it along. When people break up, when I've had breakups in the past, instead of getting butthurt and vengeful, I mean, you cry, you eat your ice cream, and you move along. But I never thought about shooting them in the head and doing these drive-bys and beating the crap out of them. I may have uttered, I hope your relationship breaks apart, but other than that, I never did anything violent because it's not my place. You could be sad, but sometimes shit happens. And I don't think anybody really gets that. And on Facebook, everybody has to be super friendly, has to this or that. Just let people be themselves, but people just need to have perspectives that life isn't perfect. And maybe if we had less emphasis on money and less greedy people, and really, you really can't count people like me and most of the world, because really the only people that have any real money is the top 1% of the world. And these are the people with old money or congressmen and so on. These guys could solve a lot of problems by being less greedy. Because the fact is that there's a lot of deception and a lot of the stuff that people that could do to help, they just refuse because they don't want to. They already have billions of dollars, but they refuse to help someone. And what do they think is going to happen when they die? Is my question for the day. When they die, they got to test for all the things that they directly caused because they didn't do one thing, and really, which is distributing money. And corporate people spread a lot of greed because people are desperate to get money for their families. So they do horrible things to try to get money to survive. And then they sit at their house and go, "Oh, how did this happen? I'm hoarding billions of dollars and helping the mob and this and that, but there we go. I don't know how that could have happened." If you literally, it's literally like I want to say like the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, the king used to come, into the houses, and the peasants obviously didn't have a lot of money, but they had some and they had families. And they would just they would go in there, they beat them up, the families, if they didn't have their tax money. And sometimes they shot their kids and stuff. And this is what happened in the medieval ages. So we were okay in the 80s. We were kind of getting to where we were. There was greed, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. And they say that history repeats itself all the time. So I'm thinking that we're back in the medieval ages. So all we need now is pretty much all the Constitution thrown out, and people and the government just comes in, shoots who they want, beats up who the hell they want, and then if you don't give up 80% of your income, somebody dies in the household, which is usually the way the king did it. Or if he had a really pretty daughter, they took them for sex slavery. That was a practice that went on, and they were made bed warmers, which is pretty much a prostitute. But this was a prostitute that made no money. Bed warmers were owned by the king, and the king, there was pretty much sex slaves. So there was sex slaves in the medieval times. And they used to, they were horrible to animals when they were able to catch them. They used to feed human beings to animals also in the medieval ages. That's what the Roman Empire used to do. We always, I guess, we glorify the Romans a lot of times. If you didn't do what they wanted you to do, or if you were a prisoner, they would not feed you. They weren't going to take any money to house you. In Roman times, they used to have the lion pit. And if you were not Catholic at that time, which they made Roman Catholic because of that, any other faith that you were, they used to feed other people of other faiths. They used to stick babies in there to be eaten alive, whole families. And people that stole a loaf of bread to feed their families got eaten up by these lions. So all through history, we've been using animals and a lot of violent behavior and just fear against people. And I guess the whole core of this is it's fear. And they just keep literally empowering fear. And this is how all this stuff is happening. And the only thing that's going to turn this back that makes any sense, that's logical, is going to be have to stop. But the person on top has to give up some money, like an umbrella effect. I mean, I'm never gonna even get a penny compared to the richest person on this planet, and I'm okay with it. But the richest person on this planet's controlling a whole lot of things, and they're being selfish. I will tell you that. In creating a lot of greed in an environment for if people, I guess, are going to pay to see dogs fight, they're going to take all these strays on the street and they're going to feed them into the fights. And they just don't take big dogs. Sometimes they throw little dogs in there just for fun so people can watch dogs eat other dogs, and dogs kill other dogs, and people glorify it, this activity. And I don't understand why you would, because these kind of things bring a lot of bad omens to people. They really do. And you can't, I guess you got to keep all that negativity out. Somebody makes you mad, you could be mad about it. You could be sad, but at the end of the day, to go against them just because they wanted to sleep with someone else, or they may have wanted just to, I don't know, just not see you. Does that make it wrong? There's so many crimes of passion. So many. Which leads to domestic violence. I mean, I was a victim of domestic violence at one point. It didn't start out that way. It was through alcoholic type thing. It started out more verbal here and there, and then after 12 years, it just progressed until we're not together no more. Now that he's not drinking any longer, it's better. We somewhat talk maybe twice a year, but you know, I guess it's the world we live in. He picked up alcohol for a habit, and it destroyed the family. If we were together now, my life would be different. I don't know. I might not be live streaming. Who knows? Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. But I guess I do a lot on my social media to try to spread as much good as I can. I try to empower people in general. I feel even men could be victims of domestic violence because usually they're the first ones accused in one of these situations. And there's a lot of times where the women know this and they'll put marks on them and call the police and say that you beat them up. And this happens more often than not, and these men get labeled as a domestic abuser. It happens. Or these girls, they go to bars, they want sex. I'm against all what these teenagers are doing, but there's teenagers and they start from 16 to like, I don't know, 16 to 19. They go to these bars and they'll hit on older guys. They'll tell them that they are older. Sometimes they get a fake ID. Then they get caught when they get home. And they'll get, and just to save their own skin, they're scared. They'll literally blame the other person that thought they were older altogether with the fake ID. So sometimes a one night stand isn't always great because I've known one or two people this has happened to, and they had to go to court, get a lawyer, and it cost them thousands of dollars. And in some cases, if they don't have a good enough lawyer, they still got charged with being a pedophile because the girl lied, and instead of just telling her parents that she snuck out, she blamed the guy. And this happens more often than not. So you got to be careful about that. You really do. And I know this because I've known somebody that happened to. I've known a couple of people that have this happened to, and two of them got out of it because they had a good enough lawyer that proved she was lying, and the parents got mad. And then the girl had to sit there and tell the judge that she lied and she was sorry. But the other girl got away with it. And this happens a lot. because like a lot of girls, for some reason, they are getting very bold these days. And I mean bold as in they're all over the place and they don't care who they hurt. And you got to be careful. And I mean, yeah, guys can be deceitful, but a lot of times they can be the victim with this kind of activity. So, but yeah, it started with this elephant today. I just feel that I wish things were kind of like they were before, or maybe going towards the way they were. We're swerving in 20 years from being somewhat good to being like a Stephen King movie. You go outside and people, they're just so, they have so much bad stuff in them these days. There literally is more bad than good. And it's so sad. I mean, I don't even know where to begin for any of it. It's just very sad. And I just hope, maybe you guys hearing this are nicer to the next person that comes along that maybe needs help because, okay. I got nobody. Does anybody want a reading? Perhaps I'm still doing tarot card readings. I'm just not one of those people that go and do a reading and I pretend that I know exactly what you want and this and that. Even if I could do that, I wouldn't. So, but I do have my cards if you guys want it. I just like to give you guys updates on a lot of inhumane things going on in the world at times. Because I feel if we're aware of the bad more, we'll be more likely to guard ourselves against it and do good. When I hear about all the bad in the world, it makes me want to do good. It really honestly does. Because I feel that the more good you do, the better, obviously, but sometimes it's hard, and I get it. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do is be good. But instead of thinking about of it just being good, think about it as being respectful. And if you think about things as just being respectful, sometimes it turns out better. I just looked at, like, when I go outside and I see somebody or talk to them, I just say, I'm going to be respectful. And if you vibe with them, it's good. If you become best friends, that's even better. But chances are, 9 times out of 10, it's just going to end with a mutual respect. And sometimes in this world, that's all you really need is a mutual respect for one another. And I like to have a mutual respect for just people, things on this earth, and everything else. And I believe just having a mutual respecting bond, you get further in this life. So I guess that's where I'm at this morning. So I beg you guys, if you see anything out there, to try to spread good today, because things are getting bad. We're literally, the world's just getting very tainted. And I don't have any answers. I have no answers on how to make it better except to spread a little bit of good. I do all my inspirationals, but sometimes I think they go in deaf ears. I'm just being real. I think they do. I think certain people like them. They are getting very popular, but I think the messages from them gets construed. Hopefully it inspires people. Because I mean, when I was going to school, when I was younger, I would have never thought to do malicious things to my fellow human beings ever. I would have never have thought to do this. I was like, man, what am I going to go to school to do? That's what was going through my thought process in my head. And I never want to do bad things to anybody. And I still don't. Because it doesn't get you very far being mean to humanity. And just the world around you, because it catches up. In the world you feed, I guess, just like a mushroom head, you feed the war machine. If you give out, whatever you give out, you get back. So if you're shooting people and doing deceitful things, you're getting it right back to you. And people sit there and say I'm the luckiest person alive, but I literally every day go out of my way to try to do something good. All the time. Sometimes it works out for me, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I come across real negative people, but that's okay. Because it's life, I guess they say. That's what everybody always tells me. So, alright, well, since there's really like nobody listening, and good morning to everybody. And I don't see any questions. I'm going to take a break since it's been almost an hour. And I'm going to finish my living room and have something to eat. And then I'm going to come back on stream and see if who else I can get. And I'll be back because today is a better day.